It is a tale of two Europes, at turns darkening and then lightening the mood for the UK's Brexit negotiators. In the fortress of Brussels, Britain hears stern words from the guardians of the EU rulebooks. But in friendlier parts of Europe, our ministers sense signs of flexibility.
This is the headquarters of the EU's executive arm. Inside this building, the Brexit negotiations are being run according to a strict mandate agreed by the remaining 27 member states. Theresa May hopes to relax the atmosphere with her speech in Florence, but already the Brexit Secretary David Davis has been quietly reaching out beyond the EU's formal structures.
The humming sound of a thoroughly modern factory in the shadow of the Flanders fields in the northern and richer half of Belgium signals the rapid production of fabric for coats, furniture, curtains, and even the Polish army.
And from a small family business, most of the Flemish textile companies are now international renowned companies, and that's thanks to all these efforts during 3 generations.
Concordia Textiles is one of the leading fabric companies of the Flanders region, which exports a third of its carpets to the UK.
A hard Brexit will make it less easier for us. There will be barriers, perhaps duties, perhaps customs administration, and that's what we want to avoid. It will not be beneficial, not for us, but nor for our British customers.
It is the looms, yarns and fabrics of Flanders that have inspired David Davis to adopt something of a new approach for the UK. He's looking to cities like Ghent, here in the heart of Flanders, with its historic trading ties to the UK, to forge new alliances. In fact, he's already met the leader of Flanders. The Brexit Secretary is hoping that a word or two about the impact of Brexit on regional economies like this one might just soften some thinking in the EU.
I met twice Barnier. I brought him to Zeebrugge. 45% of the trade of the export from Zeebrugge is to the United Kingdom. So that's why I do my best to influence all the persons, the ambassadors of the surrounding countries, etc., to work together. There's a lot of other countries also pleading for this soft Brexit.
It's not just Flanders it is being love bombed by David Davis. He's also met the Bavarian leader and has high hopes that the home of BMW will put in a word or two in Berlin about the importance of maintaining smooth trading links. There also appears to be something of a meeting of minds across the English Channel.
So why these places? Flanders stands to lose 2.6% of its GDP by 2030 if trade falls back on WTO rules. Bavarian companies export more than £10 billion of goods to Britain a year, and 200 billion of UK trade passes between Dover and Calais every year. The head of the Hauts-de-France region, which covers the northern ports, is a fan of British ideas to create an invisible border. Xavier Bertrand also has harsh words for some in Brussels.
Mais je sais une chose.
I know one thing for sure. Nobody has the right to punish the UK and the British people. It was a sovereign choice. A lot must be explained because this connects to Europe as well. There are a lot of questions. But what I know is that punishing and looking to punish is a terrible mistake. It would be a bad message to send. It was the will of the people who voted, regardless of the consequences. It would give rise to the feeling that there is something with more power than the will of the people, or wanting to go against the will of the people. That would be a terrible error,
Bertrand, who jokes that he's prepared to act as a lobbyist for free for a new Anglo-French partnership, is alarmed by the thought of a so-called hard Brexit.
A very bad thing for the region, for France, and also for the EU. I believe strongly that Great Britain is a large country. Whatever the consequences of Brexit, it will remain a large country, and nobody wants to see a large country weak or getting weaker. Nobody here or in Brussels.
The leader of Belgium's richest region is still upset by Brexit.
I deplore this Brexit every day. I deplore it. It's a bad thing. It's bad for you. It weakens the United Kingdom. It weakens the EU. It weakens Flanders too. If we don't find a good agreement, and if there's only the WTO rules, then we will have very big losses. We calculated that by 2030 Flanders will lose 2.6% of its GDP.
One former European Commission official is sceptical about the UK's new charm offensive.
It's only natural that the UK is trying to engage with certain regions in the EU where they have very strong trade links, and it's important for these regions in the EU because they will have a lot to lose if there were to be a hard Brexit. Now the question is, what can this achieve in terms of changing the direction that these discussions are taking? And my take is that it won't really achieve very much apart from having the influence of a lobbying, and that's natural. It happens in Brussels and we all understand it. But in the EU we have to follow procedures, and the EU will be looking to settle certain questions in the order that has been announced, namely first the Brexit bill and then a trade deal.
Life in Brussels isn't all about ruthless negotiation.
Let's have mayonnaise. That's the real Belgium sauce.
Avec mayonnaise, s'il vous plaît. Très bien.
The legendary Maison d'Antoine chippy is popular amongst EU officials working just up the road.
We're the world's #1 exporter of frozen potato products, and a lot of those goes to the United Kingdom.
No doubt Britain will be hoping that the plight of the common potato may concentrate minds about the everlasting links between Britain and its continental partners.